When you look into the mirror, what do you see? Most people only notice what's missing, what's imperfect, what doesn't fit into the modern world's definition of attractive. But attraction doesn't start there. It doesn't start with your reflection or the number of likes under your photo. It begins in the unseen world, the mind. Every thought you hold about yourself, every belief you silently repeat, becomes the energy that speaks before your words ever do. You could change your clothes, fix your hair, perfect your posture, but if your inner dialogue keeps whispering that you're not enough, no amount of outer beauty will make you feel truly attractive. The truth is, people respond not to your features, but to the frequency you carry. Your self-perception becomes your broadcast signal, and the world merely tunes into it. Think of a person you've met who didn't fit society's ideal standards, yet everyone seemed drawn to them. What made them stand out? It wasn't flawless skin or perfect symmetry, it was something deeper. A quiet certainty, a light that seemed to shine from within. That light is born from the mind's acceptance of one's own worth. When you hold a strong, loving belief about who you are, it translates into your voice, your posture, your movements. It gives you an aura that others can feel without knowing why. This is what makes someone magnetic, not the surface, but the soul that has learned to believe in itself without apology. The problem is that many people live their lives trying to correct the outer world while neglecting the inner one. They chase validation like oxygen, forgetting that it's their thoughts that give them breath in the first place. You could spend hours scrolling through social media, comparing yourself to filtered versions of others, and in doing so, you quietly tell your mind that you are less. The mind listens. It always listens. It doesn't argue, it doesn't challenge, it simply creates from whatever seed you plant. If the seed is doubt, you will grow insecurity. If the seed is appreciation, you will grow confidence. The mind shapes the body's energy, and that energy becomes the language of attraction. Imagine, instead, that you began your day not with criticism, but with gratitude. Gratitude for the body that carries you, the eyes that see, the smile that has the power to warm someone's heart. When you shift from judgment to appreciation, your entire vibration changes. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, and your energy becomes lighter, freer. People sense this shift instantly because energy doesn't lie. It communicates faster than words and deeper than appearances. You begin to notice that others react differently to you, not because you suddenly look different, but because you finally feel different. You've changed the source from which attraction flows, your mind. The mirror only reflects what you believe is there. When you decide to see yourself as someone of value, worthy of love and admiration, your reflection begins to align with that belief. It's not arrogance, it's awareness. Awareness that beauty isn't granted by others. It's declared by you. The moment you stop chasing the idea of attractiveness and start cultivating self-respect, something inside you unlocks. The eyes that once searched for approval begin to shine with their own light. The body that once felt inadequate begins to move with quiet assurance. And that is where true attraction begins. Not in the mirror, but in the unseen world that shapes everything you are. There's a kind of presence that can't be photographed, a magnetism that isn't captured in pixels or lighting or filters. It's the kind of energy that enters a room before you do and lingers long after you've left. This is the kind of attraction that goes beyond the surface. Physical appearance may spark interest for a moment, but it's energy that sustains it. You've likely met people who look beautiful by every societal standard, yet something about them feels hollow, as if the light doesn't reach their eyes. And then there are others whose features are ordinary, yet they draw you in effortlessly. You can't quite explain why, but being around them feels alive. That's the power of energy. It's not something you put on, it's something you embody. Every human interaction operates on energetic exchange. When you walk into a space carrying anxiety, doubt, or the need to impress, people can feel it even if they can't name it. your body language, your tone, your gaze. They all transmit the frequency of your inner world. When that inner world is filled with self-criticism, your energy becomes heavy. But when it's charged with confidence and peace, it becomes magnetic. People are drawn to those who make them feel lighter, calmer, more uplifted. And that begins with the energy you bring to yourself, the way you speak to your reflection, the thoughts you entertain when no one is watching, the emotion you attach to your own story. That's what builds your energy field. You don't have to be loud, extroverted, or dominant to have magnetic energy. Real magnetism is quiet but powerful, steady but unshakable. It's the calm assurance that comes from knowing your value without needing to prove it. When you walk with that kind of certainty, people feel it instantly. They can sense that you're not auditioning for acceptance. You're simply being. That authenticity becomes your most attractive trait because it gives others permission to relax and be real too. The world is full of people trying to perform, trying to be noticed, trying to fit into a mold. When you show up without that performance, you stand out effortlessly. Your energy amplifies with what you focus on. If your thoughts revolve around lack, I'm not pretty enough, not interesting enough, not confident enough, then your energy broadcasts scarcity. But if you shift your focus toward gratitude, curiosity, and self-respect, that energy becomes abundant. Abundance attracts. It tells the world that you are not searching for love out of emptiness, but radiating love out of fullness. That shift in vibration is what makes people feel good in your presence. They might not know why, but they feel seen, calm, understood. That's because your energy isn't taking, it's giving. In every conversation, your energy speaks first. It's in your eyes, your posture, the rhythm of your breathing. When you are grounded, comfortable in your own skin, and unafraid of silence, you become magnetic without effort. People gravitate toward peace, not perfection. They remember how you made them feel, not what you looked like. And when your energy feels like warmth in a cold world, connection becomes inevitable. The image you hold of yourself is the foundation of every experience you attract. Long before others decide how they see you, your mind has already made that decision for them. The self-image acts like an invisible script directing your behavior, your confidence, your tone, and even your level of openness in relationships. When that image is small, uncertain, or filled with self-doubt, it limits what you allow into your life. You might find yourself shrinking in conversations, hesitating to express your desires, or second-guessing compliments because deep down you don't believe you deserve them. Yet, when the self-image expands, when you begin to identify as someone worthy, magnetic, and complete, everything outside starts rearranging itself to match that new belief. The world is always mirroring the picture you hold inside. This isn't just philosophy, it's energetic truth. Every person emits a vibration that aligns with how they perceive themselves. If you see yourself as overlooked, the world seems to overlook you. If you believe you're radiant and full of life, people begin responding as if they see that radiance too. You are the projector, and life is the screen. What appears on that screen isn't random, it's the reflection of what you've been projecting from within. That's why you can't attract genuine admiration or healthy love from a place of self-rejection. The moment you upgrade your self-image, you change the entire script of your life story. Many people try to alter their external world, change their looks, chase approval, or adjust their behavior, without realizing that the real shift happens internally. They work tirelessly to be more attractive, yet continue carrying a mental picture that says, "I'm not enough." And because the mind always seeks to prove itself right, it will find ways to confirm that belief. It will focus on rejection, highlight flaws, and amplify insecurities until the inner picture becomes undeniable reality. To change your life, you must first change the image that runs it. This isn't about pretending or forcing positivity. It's about consciously choosing a new identity and feeding it daily with thought, feeling, and repetition. Think about how you would walk, talk, and behave if you truly believed you were magnetic, confident, and deeply lovable? What would that version of you say yes to? What would they no longer tolerate? Every small act of self-respect builds that new identity. Every time you speak kindly to yourself, set a boundary, or pursue something that excites you, you're reinforcing the upgraded image. Over time, it becomes your natural state. Others will sense the change before you even announce it. They'll treat you differently because the energy you emit now communicates worth instead of need. Your self-image is the blueprint your life follows. The relationships you attract, the opportunities that appear, the people who notice you. All of it aligns with who you believe yourself to be. If you see yourself as second best, life will mirror that position. But when you decide that you are enough, just as you are, something shifts. The mirror starts to reflect strength instead of insecurity, light instead of doubt. The outer world has no choice but to match the clarity of your inner vision because your self-image silently dictates the limits of what you experience. The need for validation is one of the deepest human cravings, yet it is also one of the greatest traps. From the moment we're young, we learn to measure our worth by the reactions of others. The smile of approval, the nod of acceptance, the compliment that feels like a small breath of belonging. But as we grow, this dependency quietly evolves into a prison. We start to shape our choices, our appearance, even our personality around what we think will make us more likable, more desirable, more or enough. The irony is that the harder we chase validation, the further it runs. The moment you depend on someone else's approval to feel good about yourself, you hand them power over your emotions, your peace, and your sense of worth. You become a puppet pulled by invisible strings of external opinion. When you detach from that need, something extraordinary happens. You start to breathe again. Detachment doesn't mean indifference. It means freedom. It means that your self-esteem no longer rises and falls with the tides of someone's attention. When you are no longer waiting to be chosen, you realize you have been the chooser all along. The people who used to intimidate you lose their power, not because they changed, but because you stopped giving them the authority to define your value. The shift is internal, yet its effects are visible in every aspect of your life. Your posture straightens, your tone deepens with confidence, and your energy radiates self-assurance. This is what true attractiveness feels like. Not performing for validation, but resting in the quiet, knowing that you are already enough. When you rely on validation, you move through life seeking mirrors to reflect your worth. But when you release that need, you become the source of light that others reflect instead. You start making decisions based on what aligns with your spirit, not what impresses someone else. You stop overanalyzing texts, chasing approval, or molding yourself to fit someone's expectations. You begin to move with calm clarity, and that self-possession becomes irresistibly magnetic. People are drawn to those who do not need them to feel whole. They sense the difference immediately. The confidence that doesn't shout, the presence that doesn't beg, the peace that doesn't depend on outcome. That energy communicates strength, and strength always attracts respect. Validation addiction keeps you small because it teaches you to perform rather than to live authentically. You start curating your behavior, censoring your emotions, and hiding your truth for fear of disapproval. But every time you do that, you send a silent message to yourself that your natural essence isn't good enough. Over time, that belief becomes a wall between you and genuine connection. Only when you stop chasing acceptance can you actually experience it. Real connection happens when you show up as you are, unapologetically. The people who are meant for you will stay, not because you pleased them, but because they recognize truth. And truth is magnetic in a way that perfection never is. The moment you detach from external validation, your inner world steadies. Your worth stops fluctuating like the stock market, and you no longer live in emotional debt, waiting for someone else to deposit approval. You become emotionally self-sufficient, grounded, and at peace with who you are. That inner steadiness is what draws people in because it radiates certainty. You're no longer trying to prove anything, you simply are. And in that quiet confidence, attraction becomes effortless because nothing is more compelling than someone who is no longer seeking permission to exist. Every person vibrates at a certain frequency, a combination of thoughts, emotions, and beliefs that radiate outward and silently communicate who they are. This vibration is what draws people toward you or pushes them away without a word being spoken. When your vibration is rooted in fear, insecurity, or comparison, it carries a heaviness that others can feel. It's the subtle tension in your energy, the quiet uncertainty behind your smile, the restless need to be seen. But when you align yourself with the frequency of self-worth, peace, and joy, your entire aura changes. You stop trying to force attraction and instead allow it to flow toward you naturally. Alignment means your thoughts, emotions, and actions are in harmony. You think good things about yourself, you feel deserving of love, and you act in ways that reflect that belief. That inner harmony creates a kind of magnetic field that pulls in experiences, people, and opportunities that match it. So often, people struggle to find connection because they're operating from misalignment. They say they want love but vibrate from fear. They say they're confident but secretly believe they'll be rejected. They dress the part, play the part, even speak the part. But the energy underneath tells a different story. The universe doesn't respond to words, it responds to vibration. When you're aligned with self-worth, you no longer chase validation because you know it's already within you. You stop worrying about timing, outcomes, and appearances because you trust the natural rhythm of life. You start to understand that what belongs to you will never pass you by. That calm trust makes your energy lighter, and that lightness becomes your most attractive quality. Alignment isn't about pretending to be positive all the time. It's about becoming aware of when your energy slips into self-doubt and gently guiding it back. When you feel jealousy, insecurity, or impatience, those emotions aren't wrong. They're indicators that you've stepped out of alignment. They're reminders to return to the truth that you are already enough. When your inner world is stable, the outer world reflects that stability. You attract people who match your peace rather than test it. You draw in connections that nourish rather than drain. You stop finding yourself in cycles of disappointment because your energy no longer tolerates situations built on lack. Every time you choose calm over panic, gratitude over comparison, and faith over fear, you raise your vibration. That doesn't just affect your dating life. It transforms every interaction you have. You become someone whose presence feels like a breath of fresh air, whose company feels grounding and real. Attraction becomes effortless because your energy communicates wholeness. When you're aligned, you no longer try to impress, you express. You no longer wait to be chosen, you attract what resonates with your energy. The people who meet you feel something genuine, something steady, something pure. They can sense that you're not performing, you're simply being. And that state of being, that quiet alignment with who you truly are, becomes your most powerful invitation to love, connection, and abundance. Falling in love with becoming the best version of yourself transforms the entire foundation of how you experience love and attraction. When your focus shifts from being wanted to being whole, something inside of you changes at the deepest level. You stop living from the outside in, waiting for someone to notice you, to compliment you, to complete you, and instead begin living from the inside out. You start cultivating your own sense of fulfillment, purpose, and peace. That inner growth becomes the quiet fire that lights your presence. You begin to carry yourself differently, not because you are trying to impress anyone, but because you are genuinely proud of who you are becoming. Every step you take toward your own evolution makes you more magnetic, because confidence and authenticity can never be faked. They radiate from within. When you dedicate yourself to growth, you stop obsessing over the timelines and outcomes of dating. You start realizing that every experience, every disappointment, Every rejection is simply a mirror showing you where there's more room to grow. Instead of asking, "Why didn't they choose me?" you begin asking, "What can I learn from this? What part of me is being invited to expand?" That mindset transforms pain into power. You no longer spiral when things don't go your way because you know that each situation is guiding you closer to the person you're meant to become. Growth gives you perspective. It teaches you that your value isn't tied to whether someone stays or leaves, but to how deeply you continue to evolve. When you fall in love with the process of becoming, you become deeply attractive in a way that no external effort can replicate. People can feel it, that spark in your eyes, that calm assurance in your tone, that subtle confidence that comes from self-trust. You start to glow differently because your energy isn't tied to seeking, it's tied to creating. You create a life that feels rich, meaningful, and alive, and that energy draws others toward you like gravity. People are drawn to those who have found purpose beyond validation, to those who wake up excited about their own growth. You become the kind of person who doesn't just want love, but has so much love to give because you are overflowing from within. Every moment you invest in your own development, reading, learning, healing, exercising, setting boundaries, nurturing your passions, you're building a deeper relationship with yourself. You begin to understand that being attractive isn't about fitting a mold, but about living in alignment with your truth. You stop comparing your journey to others because you know you're not in competition, you're in creation. The more you grow, the more your energy expands. You begin to embody the kind of presence that makes people feel inspired just by being around you. Your life starts reflecting that inner work through better relationships, deeper conversations, and experiences that match your elevated vibration. Growth becomes your love language, your magnetism, your quiet declaration that you are enough and you are becoming more every day.